Am I the a-hole for telling my sister-in-law that her side hustle makes her a bad person? My brother, 33 male, and his wife, 30 female, have 2 young boys, 3 and 1. My wife and I have a 5-year-old son, so over the years we have given them quite a few items that we no longer use needed. Crib, clothes, toys, various baby items, etc. Most of the things were just taking up space in our house, and we knew they would put them to use, so we had no problem giving them away. We visited them a couple weeks ago for their 3-year-old's birthday party. During the party, sister-in-law mentioned that she has been selling off a bunch of baby stuff as a side hustle. Both she and my brother are the youngest of their families, and she said that they get so many hand-me-downs from their siblings that they couldn't keep track of them all. Her solution was to start selling these gifts off online to make a few extra bucks. She was basically bragging about it. I told her that is a pretty crappy thing to do, considering that these items were given to them as gifts that they willingly accepted and were expected to use. I asked her if they had sold some of the things we have given them, and she laughed and said that she was sure she did because we've given them a lot of stuff. I told her that if I had known she was going to sell those items off, I would have given them away to someone else or donated them to a local nonprofit that helps young mothers in need. She got defensive and told me that it's not like she's making a lot of money off these things, just a few bucks here and there. I told her that the people buying those items are probably the same people who would benefit from getting them for free, and that she's taking advantage of them. She went off about how hard things are with the economy right now and how they need all the help they can get financially. Mind you, both she and my brother have college degrees and work full-time. I know raising kids is expensive, but they aren't in dire straits. I told her that she probably shouldn't expect us to give them anything else in the future, and I would probably suggest to my other siblings that they refrain from doing so as well and look into other options for donating things. She got defensive again and told me that she doesn't feel like she's doing anything wrong. I told her she's entitled to feel that way, but my opinion of her as a person is now lesser because of this. She said that selling things they don't use to make a few bucks doesn't make her a bad person, and I told her that considering they were given these things for free, it kind of does. By this point, other people had noticed our conversation, and my brother stepped in to end the conversation before things got too heated. He told me I should mind my own business and that if I don't want to give them anything else in the future, that's my choice. But that I took this too far by calling his wife a bad person for selling things they don't use.
You are the a-hole. You gave her family some stuff. At this point, the stuff was no longer yours. She can do whatever she wants with it, sell it, burn it, whatever. You get zero say. Yes, you're perfectly entitled to no longer give her hand-me-downs, i.e., your trash. That's your choice. You are the a-hole mostly because you're judging her for what she does with her family's stuff. Enlisting the rest of the family to follow your lead? Low. They get to make their own decisions. Eyes on your own work, Super Chief.
He's an a-hole, but it does seem like burning hand-me-downs is also an a-hole move. You can say no thank you and carry on with life.
If they were still clearly useful or had sentimental value, sure. If the stuff is broken beyond repair and made of easily burnable material, then it would make sense to burn it. Of course, she could dance naked beneath a full moon and cover the hand-me-downs in menstrual blood, and that wouldn't make her an a-hole. Super weird, but not a-hole, because it was freely given to her to use and do with as she pleased. If the items were supposed to be returned, the givers should have made that clear before handing them over.
Not the a-hole. I'm with you on this one. Selling a bulky item here or there wouldn't be a big deal to me. The second-hand market for baby stuff is huge, and a discount on a big-ticket item can be a win-win for both parties. But calling it a side hustle and bragging about how much money she's making off of her family's generosity doesn't sit well. Guess she's never heard of the concept of paying it forward. I don't think you're going to convince her you're right though, so I would just avoid this subject moving forward, and donate your things to a charity or local buy nothing group instead.
I agree, not the a-hole. I understand both sides. I get that these gifts should be no string attached, and the recipient should have a choice of accepting the items as is, as opposed to the hand-me-down dumping that happens from time to time. I belong to a few mom groups on social media where hand-me-downs are exchanged frequently, and most of them have a no resell policy group rule. Personally, if I was given something for free, if another mom helped me out, I would pass on the kindness to the next person when I no longer need the item.
I had a friend with twins a year and a half older than our twins. When he first started giving us their hand-me-downs, he said nicely, "All I ask is, if you don't need it, give it away." I know he could have tried to resell these things and could have used the money, no matter how little, but he was a solid dude doing us a solid. You don't resell charity for your own gain.
You are the a-hole. You gave her a gift. You don't get to dictate how she uses and disposes of it. You don't get to demand that she donates her personal property. It would be nice if she gave unwanted items to those who need them. However, the fact that she isn't as altruistic as you doesn't make her a bad person.
I don't know, man. This isn't like those pay for the person behind me things. It'd make no negative in that person's life to give the things away instead of selling them and bragging about a side hustle. Why do you keep accepting things if you have too many to keep track of? Because you're greedy.
Why do you keep accepting things if you have too many to keep track of? Because you're greedy. I disagree with that. She needed a bunch of newborn baby clothes, bibs, booties, hats, etc. She doesn't need that stuff anymore, as the kid has grown. I.e. she no longer needs a bassinet if the child no longer sleeps in one. That doesn't make her greedy for accepting the item in the first place.
Am I the a-hole for telling my sister that her new boyfriend can't bring his child to my wedding? Me, female 33, is getting married soon, November 2024, which has been planned for the last 2 years. My sister, female 36, has just split with her husband and started a new relationship with one of her colleagues. We will call him Brandon, who I have briefly met a couple times before but don't know very well. He's nice enough, but my FH has never met him, and like I say, I don't really know him myself. My sister mentioned to Brandon that she is my maid of honor and that I will be getting married in November within the first week of their new relationship. Before my sister and her husband, let's call him Reese, split, they were both invited to the wedding, as they'd been married for 15 years, so Reese was a big part of the family. Brandon automatically assumed he was invited to the wedding in Reese's place, which I didn't like, but sort of accepted that she'd want a +1, and Reese wouldn't want to come now anyway given the situation, so I let it go. She then informs me that Brandon has told his daughter Kelly, female 10, who he co-parents with his ex, that they're both coming to my wedding, so Kelly is really excited. I reminded my sister that we are having a child-free wedding, which was communicated to everyone who was invited to attend, as we ourselves don't have children, don't want children, and so don't want children at our wedding, which all our family and friends have been fine with. I've met Kelly, and she is unfortunately a complete brat, and definitely not a child we would want at our wedding, regardless of if we're having a child-free wedding or not. My sister thought our refusal was down to the cost of adding her as a guest when we've already reached maximum numbers, so initially offered to pay for her place. I told her it's not about the money, but because firstly I don't like Kelly, and secondly Brandon overstepped by assuming his child could come without even trying to talk to myself and my FH first. I also calmly told her that she knew we were having a child-free wedding and should have told him straight away to avoid this happening, as it's also not fair to our other friends and family members who have arranged childcare for their own children to respect our wishes. She's now calling me an a-hole because it's going to make things difficult for her when she tells him that he can't bring Kelly as she's excited about going to a wedding. I told her that wasn't my problem, as I am not responsible for him trying to muscle in on a family event he wasn't even invited to in the first place. I've offered to talk to him for her, to keep the peace, but she said I'd just end up being more of an a-hole to him than I am already for telling her that her new boyfriend's child can't come to my wedding. So Reddit, am I the a-hole?
Not the a-hole. You didn't have to tell her you don't like Kelly. It's enough that you're having a child-free wedding. It's not your problem he made this assumption. It's not your problem your sister didn't automatically correct him. Let her tell him. If he doesn't want to cone, so be it. If she decides to step down, let her. Do not give in for any keep the peace arguments. You will regret it. If you think he'll bring his daughter, make sure there's someone to turn them away from both the ceremony and reception. He may try the "but she'll just eat from my plate" trick.
If she stepped down, then the former brother-in-law could come. Not a bad trade.
The former brother-in-law should come anyway. It's about the bride's relationship with him. 15 years is a lot of bonding, at the very least to invite him. He may decline, but not to invite is harsh.
His invite was never revoked. I spoke with Reese at length after the split and he apologized and said he didn't feel comfortable attending anymore due to the situation. As much as it makes me sad, I respect his wishes.
Nta. It's a child-free wedding. It's your day and a big one without family being dicks. And she is being a dick. There's nothing else to talk about. It's your day and that's a stipulation. She overstepped also by assumption. She put herself in the awkward place.
Tell your sister to get fucked. It's bizarre that weddings and babysitting arrangements are very hot topics lately.
Weddings and babysitting are always hot topics between Christmas and Thanksgiving seasons and baby names.
Of course you're not the a-hole, but your sister and her boyfriend sure are. No kids means no kids. But don't worry, by November your sister may have moved on.
And not invited means not invited. I have no idea why people do not understand that. Opie is not the a-hole.
Agreed, they won't last. Reminds me of my friend after her divorce she moved in a boyfriend with 2 kids. I came over to meet him and he was talking and said that he started offering his friends her timeshare and inviting people over her house for swim parties. I pulled her aside and asked her if he ran these things beforehand. She said no. Next thing you know they broke up.
What do you think of these stories? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel to see more interesting videos.